So there are two main questions that I get all the time. Do you have an affiliate for that Aztec death whistle? And which new chords should I learn? So the answer to the question is yes, there's an affiliate link to this in the description in case you're wondering. And also, we're talking about learning new chords. Guess what? You don't have to learn new chords. I think your time is better spent using old chords that you already know in new ways. So before you learn any new chords, I want you to look at this, all right? So we're gonna do E major, the key of E major, all the chords in E, but we're also gonna use the E major shape and the E minor shape, all right? So what I mean by this is in any key, there are 7 primary chords, 7 main chords, right? We can find this out by using the 7 notes in the major scale. To do this in E, we would just start with the open E string, and then apply a formula of whole steps and half steps. Whole step being 2 frets, half step being 1 fret. So whole, half, whole, half is the formula. So we start with a note, whole, half, whole, half. So to get the notes in any key, you start with a note, and then go 2 frets, 2 fret, 1 fret, 2, 2, 2, 1. Now we can name the notes in the key of E. We have E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, right? But more importantly than that, and I think what's more interesting, is learning the chords that consist of a key. That's gonna help you out in so many different ways. So we're gonna do some really interesting things today that I think sound great by using just 2 shapes, right? So these aren't gonna be the exact triad chords, a triad just being a 3-note chord. These are gonna be representations of the chords in the key that I think sound pretty interesting. So really quick, lightning fast, let's go through the chords in the key of E played traditionally, right? We've got E major as the first one. Open E, 2A, 2D, 1G, open B, open E, right? There's your 1 chord, right? If you go a whole step, we root on an F sharp, that would be an F sharp minor chord. The 3 chord would be G sharp minor. The 4 chord would be A major. The 5 chord would be B major, often replaces B7 in this key. The 6 chord, the natural minor in this key, C sharp minor, and then the 7 chord would be D sharp, half diminished, minor 7 flat 5. So a chord scale using the traditional voicings, which I think are actually pretty difficult to play. This is one of the trickier keys to play, and just because of all the barring that goes on, playing it traditionally would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 being the octave, which is just the 1 chord again. Okay, so I'm gonna do that again. E, F sharp minor, G sharp minor, A, B, C sharp minor, D sharp, half diminished, E. Now, that's a lot. Just like speaking those words out is like a lot. You're probably already bored. Don't make me do it. Don't make me get this Aztec death whistle out again. Quite the sound. It's a new thing. Try new things, guys. Fill the link in the description. So let's do it way easier, right? Instead of going how about this? Make it musical. Okay, now everything I did there was essentially just 2 shapes. We've got the E shape, which we're gonna use as a major chord for the other 2 major chords in the key. The 1, 4, and 5 in any key is gonna be major, right? So remember, we went through that whole, half thing, and we can determine 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 chord in the key is a A, the 5 chord is a B. So we can take this shape and then actually just kind of lean on the shape, and then we have these really cool open chord voicings using the same shape, but we are leaning on the open strings in this key that help unify the sound. So I think it's prettier. And again, why these chords might not always be the answer to something that you're trying, I think these are for sure worth investigating. And then when you use a capo, you can do the exact same chord voicings moving them around, right? So we got 1, 4, 5, 4, 5, 1. And again, this isn't like a special tuning or anything. This is just regular standard tuning. 1, 4, 5, which again is different than 1, 4, 5, 5, 4, 1. Again, I think 5, 4, 1, 3 different shapes is way harder than. And I think that's why sometimes, you want to expand your chord vocabulary. You want to try different things out. You want to try different hand positions. But I think what's more valuable, if first, or depending on, where you are in your guitar journey, is being able to navigate horizontally and then kind of just, using the same chord shape and getting familiar with the frets past, maybe like the 3rd or 4th fret, right? We spent so much time kind of doing the main chords that are all like here, just kind of hanging out in this area. But what happens is you're not really getting any better sliding back and forth, right? And once you can kind of start sliding, you get a feel for like the neck of the guitar. Like the other stuff that you're working on, I feel becomes a lot easier to handle because like, all right, well, I'm in E major, so I know because I signed up for Sean's Patreon, or if I'm cheaper than that, I just got a death whistle to throw him a bone, an Aztec death whistle. I can go back 3 frets, and then there's like the natural relative minor where that minor pentatonic comes in, but you never end up in this spot because you don't get there musically. But it's like, all right, cool, now I'm becoming familiar with the entire fretboard all in one, right? And these are just the major chords. All right, now, to be fair, some of these chords will have different names if we get into the technicality of it. Like with the A major, right? Essentially, even though these are 3 notes, an A, a C sharp, and an E, in a way that a bar chord would give us, we're also adding a note, a B, right? Again, we have a low E and a high E when I leave it open, like this, which isn't changing the chord. It changes how it sounds, but the E's having 3 E notes in an A major chord doesn't technically change the name of the chord. But that B kind of does, right? So again, if an open B string is added to an A chord, and we have the root 3rd and 5th, that doesn't make sense to you, sign up for the Patreon. We count past the octave. So B would be the 2nd and the 9th note, right? Remember, because the octave is 1. So we're adding a B note to an A chord. That would be an A add 9. When we get that open B note with an A. So technically that would be a different name of a chord than just A major, but it's A major-ish. It's an A's spot. And then same with the B. A B triad doesn't have an E note in it, but we're doing a little add 11 thing. Whatever, the name is inconsequential in the grand scheme of things. Does it sound good? Is it fun to play? That's the most important part. These are just the major chords we were doing, all right? So the other shape that we're gonna use, again, we're only using 2 shapes right here, is E minor, okay? Whew. That's a little more in line with this. I'm gonna do this a little lighter so you don't have to. This thing is wild, man. That's something right there. Definitely one of the stranger brand deals I've gotten. Just being honest right there. But let's make it minor. Let's make it something that'll be more appropriate to play with a death whistle solo, perhaps. Whatever you do with it, that's your business. I'm not here to judge. But that's just major and minor. Minor has a flat 3rd, a minor 3rd, 3 frets away instead of 4. If that makes sense. So we can do that same thing, right? In fact, let's play the E major with your ring finger and your pinky on 2A and 2D, and your middle finger is grabbing the 1st fret. Now when I go 2 frets higher, or a whole step higher, I just flatten that 3rd, right? See, now I'm swapping my middle finger out for my pointer finger. Now there's 2 frets in between where my pinky and my pointer finger were, just like if it was an E minor. A minor 3rd is how we would call that. Now I can still add those B and E strings. And now this is a way easier way to play a representation of an F sharp minor, albeit it has a different name. F sharp minor bar chord. This can be very difficult. F sharp minor with open B and E. Better in every single way, right? Can't even argue that. 1 chord, 2 chord. Remember, we just started with a note, went a whole step, but then used a chord. Let's go another whole step. G sharp minor spot. The 1 chord, the 2 chord, the 3 chord. Let's go to the 4 chord, half step, make it major. Now we got 3 whole steps in a row, right? Whole. Make it major, keep it major. Whole. And then we got another, we'll call this minor 7 flat 5 till we get back down to E. Alright? Again, you know, the part where this falls apart is like anytime you talk about the 7 chord, that D sharp minor 7 flat 5, if you want to talk about it, you can kind of think of it as a minor-ish chord because it has a minor third in it, but again, I think the point of it is really just keeping this shape. If you want to keep it like that, that's cool. But, you know, depending if you're playing acoustic or electric, we're running out of real estate anyways on this amazing Martin D18 that I so dearly love. But now let's kind of move these shapes around and just kind of see how it plays, right? In like a musical context, using just these 2 shapes, right? So maybe seeing these shapes in relation to each other is something that you want to spend some time on. So we got the major chords, right? And again, however you want to think of where your root notes are, I'm thinking in my mind's eye as my root note being open to 5 and to 7, even though my pointer finger's not even playing 5 and 7. In fact, if I want to, I can still get my pointer finger there, leave the top end of the chord, that B and E, open. Or I can open that E string, open to get a more unifying glue-like sound that kind of makes all these chords sit together a little bit, right? So, the major chords, the minor chords. 1, 4, 5, 2, 3, 6. 1, 4, 5, 4, 6, 5, 4, 2, 3, 4. And now we're kind of making music because we're kind of going through that chord scale, right? 1, 4, 5, or 1, 4, 5 traditionally, 6, 5, 4, or 6, 5, 4, or 2, 3, 4. So you can kind of tell there's like a lot of variation that you can get by switching back and forth between, you know, maybe the more traditional triads and some of these cool like little open, you know, tricks. So again, you know, there's a lot of utility to like just learning a bunch of chords, but I do remember from my own personal experience, I would be like, all right, I want to try something new. I'm going to learn a new hand shape. And eventually that became a thing where like, all right, what's this again? Okay, that's cool. That's a cool sound. But I was just memorizing almost like a shape to get my hands in. It's like, all right, what is this rooted on? It's like a D. And it's like a suspend thing, you know? And it's like, I never really spent time thinking about like, all right, well, what open strings could help me out and utilize the cool, unique things about having a guitar with 6 strings and how you can really kind of, you know, take existing shapes that are easy and then make them sound more musically complex without making them more tactile and complex, right? You want to keep it simple. That's why these incredible death whistles for a great value, they only have one note, the note of sheer terror. I have not put this through a tuner pedal yet to know which pitch mine comes at, but you know it gets the job done from a terror standpoint. So thank you to the company that sent me this. Fill the link in the description. And thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions, you should definitely join my Patreon or hit me up in the comments section of the website. I'll talk to y'all soon.